Yo everyone, Mercurial here. Today I'm gonna go through this guide's guide on stage 1 and how you should be playing it, and also in the second part it will go into even a bit about later stages and how you should think about stage 1 in respect to the later stages. But yeah, if you like the video, for sure go follow this guy. I will put his link in the comments, and you can even donate to him in the guide here. But yeah, let's get into it. And this is going to be a pretty complicated guide, especially towards the later stages. It's going to be like, honestly, like GM Challenger level. But yeah, let's get into it. This is a 55090 LP player from Japan. Really good. And let's start, because this is going to be a very long guide. So yeah, it's no exaggeration to say that the most of this game is decided in the first stage. You can roughly imagine the AVP from the first stage. However, many spend and oh, it's a translated text, by the way. It's from Japanese. But yeah, let's continue. However, many people spend the first stage watching YouTube at the start of the game from the fourth stage. It's the same as life. You can't turn it around from there. In this guide, I will tell you why the first stage is important and what the top challengers are thinking in the first stage. Very true. I think the first stage is probably the most important part of the game, especially the part that you should really get better at to get like from master to GM and challenger. Or especially to GM, I think, because for challenger you need to get better at everything, but yeah. Why is the first step important? In conclusion, the composition selection and the game plan depends heavily on the units and items that fell in the first stage. For example, if Smidge falls in the first stage in the current patch 13.5, it will be a hidden force. Yeah, it will be very good. In the article for beginners and old guides, it may be written that a composition selection is okay in a third stage, but the higher level of the table, so the higher level of gameplay, the more difficult it becomes. Yeah, you shouldn't decide so late usually anymore. Before you decide later often, like I've played since set 1, and earlier you decided much later often, like even in stage 4 so often, but yeah, not really anymore. You must decide the composition and game plan at first stage, proceed according to it, win, lose, money priority, etc., and select augments, reroll item augments, etc. This is common sense in modern TFT where players have become more skilled. For sure. Okay, so I want to win. Want to progress to win the first stage. The first stage is where you think about the pieces and items for that purpose. A common pattern for beginners is to take interest for now, not make items for now, get strong materials, I don't know, sushi, and make items appropriately in the third stage. At that point, you're already losing. It is not good to be behind. And yeah, this text will go into a lot about how you don't do that and try to play from ahead instead. And yeah, go into a lot of details. First, it's basic policy. Since you want to win, it's basic to have a strong one cost at that time. Which pieces are strong varies from patch to patch, so I will write about it later. But there are certain rules for strong pieces in any patch. A strong one cost is a stacked frontline unit. This is a basic principle. The reason it is strong is yeah, the frontline units are super important, is what it means, and also some frontline items can be really good. The reason it is strong is in stage 2 there are still few buffs such as items and synergies, and most damage sources are auto attacks. Therefore, the strength of a piece is determined by the strength of its HP and attack power, but HP and attack power increase when it is stacked. The next thing you want is a simple piece that brings out the synergy of the stacked pieces. In set 13, for example, if the staves are stacked and in a reach state, you will definitely have Tron. Wait, what? If the staves are okay, I'm not sure. You will definitely have Trundle. And finally, a rare line unit. Many people misunderstand this, but even if you have a 2 Lux 2 and 2 Sarah 2, if the front is one Darius or one Irelia, it's not very strong. Therefore, to summarize, the priority of stage 1 pieces is frontline reach, so frontline power, pieces with synergy of that piece, so synergize with the frontline, and then rear line power, and lastly strong pieces that do not have any synergy or frontline. So if you have one Darius, you'll have 2 Singe, and if that happens, you can just have one Irelia and use the remaining money to buy some rear guard pieces as you fit, looking at items, etc. Yeah, I mean, if you have many frontliners, you can buy the backliners. Selection, basic. this is definitely not very basic, but let's get into it. And this is where it becomes a bit more complicated. So far, I've not mentioned the specific units you should have, because without understanding this chapter, you will not know what kind of choices you should make. There are 5 main patterns for the money drop in the first stage. So the 5 patterns are 6 gold and 3 material, 2 gold per round and 3 material, 12 gold and 2 material items, 18 gold and 1 item, then Scuttle Puddle. And yeah, most matches fall into 1, so you get 6 gold and 3 items. Now let's look how to actually make choices. So 1 has 3 different patterns, and also sometimes an eco. The first pattern is 1 3 cost unit plus 3 gold. The second is 2 3 cost units, and the third is 3 2 cost units, so all combined to 6 gold. This falls and is the first shop of 1 for 1 3. By the way, first stage only gets 2 gold per turn. Then in case 1, you can hold all pieces because you have 5 gold and there are 5 1 cost units in the shop. So you just buy everything. The problem is in cases 2 and 3. Since you only have 2 gold, you cannot hold all of them. So in cases 2 and 3. Or wait, what? Or no, 2 and 3 here. Yeah. Since you only have 2 gold, you cannot hold all of them. At this point, it is impossible to consider various possibilities. Thinking about it in this way, we finally understand why it's important to know in advance which 2 and 3 cost units you should have. So yeah, in theory, you should hold like every possibility, and in some cases like this, it is possible since you can hold everything, but in others like these, it is not possible and you need to know which to hold. And here, this tier list, I generally agree with this. I would maybe put some stuff B tier, maybe Sari B tier. But yeah, in general, good tier list. Then for 3 cost, you can just come back if you want to see the tier lists. But yeah, well, I'm sure there are pros and cons about it, but it's basically something like this. S tier is a strong unit in the progression. A is a unit that can be used to see rerolls. Oh, okay. Yeah, these are the reroll units, and the others are like the strong units to play around. That makes a lot of sense. D is 2 and 3 gold, so yeah, you should sell them. Basically, sell without thinking. For example, if you get 2 3 cost units, an S tier and a D tier unit, sell the D tier in a second and buy 5 1 cost units from the shop. So he's talking about the situation where you get the second or third choice and you can't buy everything, you need to sell, then you sell the D tier units. If you get 3 2 cost units, it's a bit of a problem. Selling 1 unit is 2 gold plus the 2 gold you get, so it's 4 gold. So you can't buy all the pieces from the shop. In that case, choose between a 1 cost unit and the 2 cost unit that you least want. So here you need to make a decision. And here are the 1 cost units. I think this is pretty accurate. I would probably put up Draven a bit and Powder, but yeah, otherwise it's good. This is the thinking and knowledge you need to know for 1-3. If you thought 1-3 was too much, repeat and play. Yeah, just play and play, and you'll learn this. By the way, you start with 2 gold, you have less money, and you need to make a choice immediately after seeing that the orb that fell. You need to make a more appropriate and quick decision. So yeah, it's same kind of decision making process. You keep this in mind. You want to know this before the game, and then you do the same decision but quicker. Then we get to the third point, making choices practice. From here on, it's time to practice. If you want to output it, please take a look. There are times when you only get 2 gold at 1-2, or when you have 2 cost, or when you have 2 cost pieces lined up in the shop at 1-4 and don't know what to buy first. In appreciation of such times, let's think about which pieces you should actually buy. So here we see Soju. He's playing 2 Aurelias, has a Violet and a Maddie, and has this shop and bought the Maddie. This is Soju. He's my favorite streamer. He's a monster who's always at 10k plus viewers. That aside, I'm in 1-3. Yeah, the situation is that I started with 2 gold and lost 2 1-cost units, so I bought Maddie from the shop. If it's 2 gold every turn, you can't have everything even if you're 1-3. One play will greatly determine the composition you can have going forward. So let's reconfirm the priority of the pieces, thing he talked about earlier. So you want frontline power, pieces of the same synergy, backline power, and then strong pieces without any of these things. Along these lines, I buy pieces. First of all, the thing I want to hold most this situation is Aurelia's frontline power. Therefore, I put 2 Aurelias on the board. The reason is that I want to think as little as possible. Yeah, you want to follow these kind of rules because you don't want to sit there thinking in the game. I think this is pretty good. Like, you shouldn't need to overthink because you will end up making many mistakes. You want to have many things figured out before a game of TFT. Because some people misunderstand, but we are not TFT machines. Even Tyrell forgets Mel's blessing, and me too. Sometimes I reroll early because I can't make it in time. I'll go back to the board, but after this, when I kill a creep, an orb worth 2 gold will drop. It might be 2 1-cost units that I don't care about, or 2 Dariuses, or it might be a Camille. Okay, since Globe okay, not sure what it means by Globe. The ambusher is close, and if set or something falls, I can make rebellion. Okay, so yeah, he has powder, and he has also, so he's close to ambusher, and maybe set, so he can play rebels maybe. It's difficult to make such a judgment instantly, yeah, if you get the drops. So I arrange the pieces on the board as I think it will. The top priority are pieces on the board. The pieces I will probably hold are on the left side of the bench, and the pieces I can hit are on the right side. So yeah, the ones you will probably keep, you can leave on the left side of the bench, and the others on the right to have like a plan, so you can make quick decisions. This little bit of preparation is really important. This will allow me to use my mental resources for other things. Once I organize my board, I should have more time to scout. Yep. Next, regarding items, if it's tank type material, there's nothing to think about. The question is whether material is AD or AP oriented. For example, if it's tier or rod, you'll focus on AP rear units. Here, glove are dropped. There are various options about glove, but I consider it closer to AD. AP also uses JG, but it's not an item you want to make from the early game, i.e. unless Whisper or strong items from the early game. That's why Soju buys Maddie here. So yes, glove. Since the frontline unit is almost sighted, you'll have a rear unit with an item. So yeah, you're looking for the frontline Aurelia and then some backline, and you have the glove, so you're probably going AD. In the next scene, Lux and Amumu are dropped. Yeah, here we see from the 2 gold orb. This is the busiest time of TFT. The pieces you hold here affect your average placement. What should you hold? Since sorcerer progression is strong, it might be a good idea to use Darius, Lux, and Amumu to see the Watcher. Or yet to play Watcher, you have the synergy, and then play Sorcerer backline. But it's rejected by Soju. The correct answer is to sell Violet and Amumu and buy Darius and Raven. Yep. So we see here, sells Violet and Amumu for Darius and Raven. Darius is not a pair. No matter how strong Darius is, he's weak if he's not stacked. There is not much value in holding onto Amumu, who's a synergist. Violet is trash right now. It would be better to play her sooner in the first place. Even if she's paired, she's at a level where you would sell her. As mentioned before, she is AD heavy, so it will hold on to Draven. Irelia has a reach, so of course it will hold on to Vex. Okay, so basically you sell a Mumu because you don't really want to play around him. You have the Irelia pair, you have that frontline, and the Watcher for a Mumu doesn't really matter. A Mumu is still a bad unit, and Violet in general is just a really bad unit, so you sell her. And then you buy Darius Raven to get the Darius unit, which is really good, and the backline Draven for the AD, and then Vex because it goes with Rebel. Yeah. Next, 1-3, the material is a bow. Since 2 cost items are added to the shop, you will not have enough money. Renata is strong, and set may be good for Rebel. Yep, so yes, Renata and set. 2 Aurelius drop with a 2 gold orb. He has 2 Aurelius here and 2 on board still. There are 2 Aurelius and a Maddie on the board, so Soji decides not to sell and buy anything here. However, when Irelia overlaps, I really want to buy Rebel set. I think this is correct as well. Furthermore, a rod falls and I have an extra glove for Ginso. So I think I can aim for a win streak in terms of items. I think it would be better to right decision to sell one of the Aurelias and a pair of Draven, Darius, or Lux to buy set. I definitely agree. Some people may think that it's good to aim for not the reroll if you have Irelia, but it's better. Yeah, better than nothing. Okay, but yeah, it's better going for the win streak if you can. I think it means also you don't have singed, so a bit weird. The most important thing in the reroll composition is items. Yeah, for items, it's also super important. For 4 costs, it's fine if you have some items by the 4th stage, but if you're going to reroll, you need to make items by the 3rd stage, or you lose your power spike. Here you have 0 material for Shojin, so it's better not to play Renata. And that's how it went. If you actually think about it slowly, you'll understand the difficulty of choosing optimal solution, and game plan will become clear if you have the right units. However, the fact that Soju was unable to buy set here shows that even top players make mistakes on one step. Yeah. Summary. It's longer than I thought it would be. Okay, I mean, yeah, we're gonna read the second part, so yeah, this is not that important. But yeah, he lost the tournament and wrote this after a tournament. Sad. This is even longer, and this part is a lot harder as well, I would say, or a higher level. First stage, part 2, probably for those aiming for master or higher. Hello, my name is Powder. I was there. Okay, whatever. It's just about him. Okay, first of all, I think the biggest difference is the difference between lower level of master and a border of grandmaster. To be honest, I think you can get to lower level of master, which is composition guides. I think many people have reached this level. If they reflect on their obviously bad place and keep playing. I was one of them. If anything, it might be the case up to the lower level of challenger. Okay, maybe in Japan, I think it's harder in other I'm not saying Japan is bad, but maybe getting challenger there since it's a smaller server. It really takes a long time to get up from there. People with the talent may not be able to do it, but unlike the Neat Corps, I don't know, at the top of the challenge, many people don't have much time to think about TFT, and it's difficult to take the time to watch streamers and learn. And yet, top players only teach you the composition guide and how to learn this game. It's not different from a business self-help book. I feel like it's not what I wanted to hear. So he's making a super guided guide instead, or super detailed guide instead. If you keep watching the stream, you'll definitely get better, but you don't have time for that. I wrote the first one because I wanted to reach out to busy people who usually get information from text rather than videos. The reason why watching the stream makes you better is because you notice the difference from your own play. So the purpose of this guide is to give you an awareness. You get better without watching the stream. I hope this guide will be of use to you. Why do you want to progress? Because you create power spikes. Oh yeah. Why do you want to progress? Why do you want to get stronger throughout the game? Because they create power spikes. I think many people have low resolution of the game TFT. They don't really understand the fundamental mechanics behind it. Since luck is a big factor of the game, I think it's difficult to give a reason for being in top 4 or bot 4. For those of you who would like to introduce the concept of power spikes, it's no exaggeration to say that this is everything to TFT. Whether a match will be ranked lower or higher is determined by how much um, power you have in comparison to others. It is obvious if you think about it. Most people are aware that the person who creates the strongest board at the end will win, so they are devoting their life to being the strongest in the final form. Of course, composition guides are popular and people want to create ideal items, however, or comps. However, if you lose in 2 or 3 steps, or if you lose in stage 2 or 4, your HP will be reduced a lot. So basically you need to keep the early game into consideration as well in stage 4, and not only your final board, and also your power spikes. Many people are sensitive to the resources of money, but I think they are very conscious, but not very conscious of their HP. It's natural for your HP to decrease if you lose, but if you win, your HP will not decrease. You should feel that your opponent's HP is actually increased by losing. Your HP is twice as valuable as you think it is. So yeah, basically, if you win, you decrease your opponent's HP, and if you lose, they basically get increased since they don't lose any HP. I've written a lot, but I want to win, because the second stage is the easiest way to hit power spike. That's all. What's more, I don't want to need much play skill there. Work hard on first stage, level up at 2-1, and then make items to win. The only stage you can win easily is the second stage. To win third stage, you need 2 cost 2 stars. To win fourth stage, you need 4 cost 2 stars. To win second stage, you don't need to reroll, just a 1 cost that overlap. So yeah, basically that you don't need to hit anything to or roll or stuff in stage 1. So if you learn it, it can be pretty easy. Follow the steps, and I would say that's more streamlined. You do like the same thing every time. It's not as dependent on different things as mid game and late game is. So why do you want to progress by winning? Why do you want to win streak instead of lose streak? If you're tired of the previous chapter, please skip this. The reason why you want to win and progress in the 2 first stages is not because of the power spike. There are 2 major reasons. The first is to look at the shops that have been leveled up and make it easier to draw strong pieces, and the second is to overwhelmingly reduce the chance of falling behind in the speed of table. of the match. So you don't want to fall behind lobby tempo, and you also want to increase your odds of hitting higher cost units. That's why you want to win streak instead of lose streak. The first one is easy to understand. If you win, you will be level 4 at 2-1 and 5 at 2-5. So you can see stronger shops. In the current environment, 13.5, if you draw Vladimir at level 4 or Swain at level 5, you can see that it's very strong. Isn't that a low probability? Some people may think so, but that is wrong. The probability of losing now and then overlapping with the 4 cost you want later is overwhelmingly low. So yeah, if you lose streak now and then it's very low probability of hitting the 4 cost you want, basically if you're playing a lose streak strategy for a 4 cost. You're being naive. The first reason is that you increase the probability of an upswing, which is necessary to take the top spot. The second reason is to reduce the chance of falling behind the lobby tempo. This is related to power spike mentioned earlier. The strength of the lobby will increase automatically with each round, whether it levels its units, spends money to make the board stronger. Yeah, the lobby will get stronger whatever happens. So if you win, you'll be much stronger than the lobby's strength. If you lose, you'll always be weaker than the lobby. Whether it's the synergies of the pieces or drawing high cost units, you basically can't surpass it if you don't care about the power spikes. Yeah, basically like the power spike video I talked about. If you're behind, you will keep being behind unless you play for the power spike. That's why you can't make a forecast after losing, because you'll keep losing 3 stages too. Basically, it's saying that you shouldn't play for forecast if you're lose streaking, probably. I'm sure you have experienced this, but it's almost impossible to lose 2 stages and suddenly win 3 stages. That's because you're reducing the chances of upswing yourself. Yeah, you're not hitting the higher cost units and you're falling behind the tempo, and you need basically set yourself up to need to hit later. So after losing, you basically do a reroll configuration. Yeah, so you want to reroll if you're lose streaking is his recommendation. By using the resource of money, you can create the power spike that can surpass the strength of the lobby. If you're playing reroll, that is. So you reroll 3, 2 and stabilize there instead of losing all of stage 2 and 3. The importance of power spikes is as mentioned above. By creating a power spike yourself, the surrounding players will lose strength. The impact is about 100 times greater than you think it is. And then we get to the relationship between progress and the environment. There is no free reroll configuration. If there is no free reroll configuration, what do you do when there is no reroll environment? Yeah, so if you want to play reroll and you're lose streaking, what do you do if you're contested or whatever? Or if reroll is not in a meta. In this chapter, I will be telling you about the appropriate progress depending on the environment. Roughly speaking, there are 3 types of environments in this game. 3 different kinds of metas. 4 cost and 2 cost reroll, 4 cost and 1 cost reroll, or only 4 cost reroll. These are different metas he thinks exist in TFT. Now we are in 1. By the way, okay, so in 4 and 2 cost reroll. By the way, I think this environment is the most difficult for beginners because it is the meta where the speed of the lobby is the fastest. 4 cost is strong, and the second stage, win progress, and 4th stage onward. Okay, so for 4 cost are strong in the second stage, and then for 4th onwards. 2 cost is strong from the 3rd stage onwards. In this case, you cannot make a 4 cost losing progress, or you can't play 4 cost from a lose streaking position because your HP is greatly reduced in the 2nd and the 3rd stages. In other words, in the meta of 4 and 2 costs, the only moves you can basically make are 4-cost winning progress or 2-cost losing progress. So 4 costs from a winning streak or 2 costs from a lose streak. Because of this, if you realize that you can't see the game plan in the stage 1, you're dead. Next, in the next case of 4-cost and 1-cost reroll, the speed of the lobby is normal. The power spike of the 1-cost rerolls occur in the 1-cost when the 1-cost becomes restore, which is basically from 3-5. Furthermore, the 1-cost reroll is turned at level 5, so even if it's completed, it is difficult to get a large hit. Therefore, even if you're losing progression of 4-costs, you can still have some HP. You can imagine it as 3-7 with about 35 HP. If you calculate it, the base damage in the second stage is 2 plus the number of units is an average of 4, so 30 damage in 6 times 5 rounds. After a second stage, you have 70 HP. The base damage in the third stage is 5 plus the number of units is an average of 5, so 50 damage in 10 times 5 rounds. However, because the speed of the lobby tempo, you can often win. So if you win once, you have 30 HP. If you win twice, you have 40. In summary, in the case of 4 and 1-cost reroll metas, you can also use losing streak on 4-costs. However, the basic strategy is use a win streak on 1-cost. In the next case of 3, only 4-cost comps meta. Anyway, there are patches where 4-costs are strong. I think this is an environment where a lot of people like it. In this case, the speed of the table is the slowest because no one experiences a power spike until the 4th stage. Only in this environment can lose streak and progression exceed the win streak progression because the game starts from the 4th stage. The purpose of the game is not to have health left, but to have the strongest board in stage 4 and later. It's like Callista in the previous set. It was stupid to make Ginso and play portals with a winning progression. Only in this environment, the move, losing progression, that allows you to make the most out of money and item resources by using your health is strong. So basically, if it's a 4-cost only meta, loot streak can be good because you will have more gold and you can hit the units before the others will, and they won't stabilize as much as you stage 4. Many people play the game of TFT thinking that it's always a 4-cost meta. Of course, you can't win. I understand that 3 is fun, the 4-cost meta. In the current environment, scrapping after loose streak has often certain degree of reproducibility. And if you get rumble, your brain uses won't stop. So you can kinda do this right now with scrap. However, please note that it's not the move that will increase your average ranking. It will not make you a better at TFT. If you want to play TFT as a gambling game, you can continue to do so. However, if you are serious about winning every game and want to play more reproducibly, I strongly recommend that you keep this chapter in mind when you're playing and reconsider the composition guide. Okay, so what we learned is try to win streak in the reroll metas if you're playing 4-cost, and if you're lose streaking, play 2 or 1-cost reroll. And only in the 4-cost meta you can consider lose streaking more for a 4-cost. So what should you do in the first stage? Winning progression. It's a long way to first, but thinking about more than this, I want the challenge to be first. Okay. Well, I go through toilet sometimes, it's important. So it's 8th of the kind of match, blow it and go to poop. Put poop aside and it's first. Oh yeah, I don't get it, but okay, go for first. Now let's think about the current meta where 4 costs and 2 costs are strong. Is reroll really that strong now? Some of you may be wondering. It's true that 4 costs look stronger when you look at it in meta TFT. Okay, 4 cost comps doing good. Please forgive the advertisements, all except the hidden beast or 4 costs. all besides amateur. And the next one is for Grandmaster and above. So here we can see Urgot as well. Urgot came in at the top. There are various opinions on whether Urgot is the strongest composition, but generally speaking, the higher level of the lobby, the more important the reroll composition is. Some people know the conditions for the composition that are not well known, but the main reason is that they cannot win without it. So basically, one of the big reasons is that people know the conditions for playing the reroll comps. In this meta, enforcers and sorcerers who progress from winning are strong, and scrap and other forecast cards that come in from losing become harder in the higher level of the table. For example, visionary compositions that have a high average at master and above are out of the rankings at GM and above because their progress is weak. So because visionary is not that strong early and mid game, they have a worse average for GM and challenger because the early game is even more important there. It's true that the final stage is extremely strong. I'm sure you're feeling good after drawing Malzahar. However, unlike Sorcerer, the progress is weak. Sorcerer 3 cost, Swain and Nunu. Swain, and this one's is Nunu. What can you do? Your health is too... Yeah, so Swain is a lot better than Nunu, obviously, early mid-game. Your health is too low in stage 3. I can picture getting you assassinated by Smeech and complaining that it's a game of luck. Here is the basic policy for one step in the current environment. 1. Be more conscious of the tier of 1-cost items than usual, of 1-cost units. Look for pieces that can be rerolled if they are half baked. Okay, look for rerolls spots. And 3. Take an item augment and lose streak into scrap. Many people can only do 3. The worst case scenario is that you lose and end up aiming for Sorcerer or Rebel so that you don't get the scrap mid-game or late game, even though you're lose streaking and playing with an item augment, playing for scrap. You will not get a power spike. This will be too long, you will not get a power spike and lose in this case. This will be too long, so I will only talk about 1 in this chapter to think about your 1-cost units more. This is because the environment it's more important than usual to have power spike in the second stage. With the existence of reroll configurations, you will never be able to win in the third stage. Therefore, you need to win or lose in the second stage, therefore whether you win or lose in the second stage will greatly affect your average ranking. The 1-cost tier list table is as follows. Yeah, it's same. I mean, I would probably take Draven a bit higher because he's decent with Darius for like ED openers, and Powder can be a bit higher maybe for Trundle, but I guess actually Powder not for this because Powder is more for the third. But yeah, Draven a bit higher maybe. The most important thing is the Sorcerer composition. As the game progresses, the strongest Darius is the highest priority piece. Okay. Why Darius and not Syra and Lux? If you don't understand, start over from part 1. Frontline, power, pieces with synergy with the frontliner, backliners, and then strong units that don't have any of the first 2 things. This is the priority of the first stage. Darius is a strong piece in the frontline. If Darius overlaps in a match, he's the top 4 at that point. So if you get synergies with Darius and stuff, you should probably top 4. So if you get something like this, it's really good. This is the board I want to make the most for stage 2. If you drew Swain at 2-2, immediately raise him to level 5 and AFK until 4-2. Next is Stab. Although he was nerfed, he has the strongest synergy with the Bruiser and Enforcer, so he's the strongest in the early game. Also, if you draw TF or Loris, he's strong, and like Sorcerer, he's easy to play into late game, I guess, or to win streak with. I don't know what upswing means here, but yeah. And you can play around things like this. You can play around one of these, and then especially Camille is better than a Maddie, but yeah, you play around the Seb and a Bruiser. There are some things to be careful about. Maddie is trash. Units that aim for the rear guard are basically weak in stage 2, where it's justice to drop from the front. So yeah, you want to kill the frontliners first. If you draw Camille and put out Powder at level 4, the synergy is good. So playing these 4. You can go 8 and use Enforcer, or you can draw Augment or Smeech. You can reroll Ambusher. So if you hit an Augment to play Ambushers, you can also play Ambusher. Even if you get Enforcer at 6, you can still get in the top 4 if you get it from a win streak position. Keep rolling at 8 and you'll get top 4 with a Vi 2 or a Caitlyn if you're lucky. As long as Maddie doesn't overlap, you should only use her when you draw TF or Loris. Take out Powder and put out 4 Enforcer and 2 Bruiser. You can get 5 team wins in a row. So yeah, you should play 4 Enforcer and you should try to stay away from Maddie, and you can play Ambusher. The other board state that can give 5 wins in a row, stage 2, is Rebels. With the buff into 3 Rebels, Aurelia's evaluation has increased. Aurelia 2 and Ezreal with luck can be one of the conditions to get 5 in a row. And then ordinary Rebels is this, but yeah, if you can get Academy, this is a lot harder though, so often you go Vex and Rel. If you can draw units like the one above, it's as strong as a sorcerer opener. I think that when the board is normal, yeah, even though no board is normal. Even at this level, if you have strong items in the early game, I think you have potential to win all 5 stage 2 game or 2 rounds. With this progression, you should basically look at Sentinel Heimer, and if you get the upswing with Hela or something, look at Rebellion or Visionary. Not sure what this is. But yeah, you can also play Rebels or Visionary if you get a good start. Because I guess if you get a good start, because then you can get the Jinx or the Malzahar. Finally, a supplement is about how to use 2-cost and 3-cost units that have a strong progression. Here, I'm not going to write about reroll configurations, but rather how to use pieces when aiming for a winning progression. So yeah. First, about the 2-cost. Vladimir is the strongest with Sorcerer and Darius as a Watcher. Camille's Enforcer is strong as mentioned earlier, so if you give her Fighter Emblem, she will work. Or if you give her AD items, she will work. Rel has an excellent synergy, so she's easy to use. The rest of the units can be used if they have a good synergy, but you'll probably end up selling them. And then here are the 3-cost. There are really a lot of excellent 3-cost cards in the current environment. Of course, Swain and Nami and GP work well if given a Ginso. Wait, what? And Ezreal a bit confusing, but yeah, Swain, GP, Nami are good. And Ginso is good as well, I guess, on GP. And Ezreal has Academy, which gives you items. For Rebels, which increase... And yeah, it's also good with Rebels since it increases your health and attack speed. Or damage. Loris is buffed and tanks a lot, and it's also strong to be able to see 4 Enforcers. And Rennie is good because she heals a lot. TF is, as mentioned earlier, also good because of Enforcer. Items are really strong, as you can have anything such as mana, damage, AP, Morello, and Shiv. Smeech works if you have items, but he often aims for ambusher reroll from losing progression. So yeah, you're looking for these, and Smeech mainly for losing and rerolling him, but can also work for winning. Okay, I completely forgot about it this time too, the items. Or, okay, I don't know. Finally, about the items. However, if you have come this far, you have no problem. There is not much to think about, or rather, there is nothing you can do. If the items are weak, it is difficult to aim for consecutive wins, even with Darius too. So basically, you should probably slam if you can slam, but like you can't do much if you get like a B or C tier item. It was too much pain to make one, so I borrowed the item tier list from Dish Soap, former world champion. I'm really sorry. I think the S tier items are the ones that will help you win consecutive games. I don't really want to make a B or C tier items. When I can only make those, I think about losing in the first place. For now, I think about going. Okay, I know. Okay, get good items. I don't know about this. To sum it up, there are basically two types of some item that are strong in the early game. Fixed damaged items and mana item. Fixed damage is burn items like Sunfire and Bramble. Mana items are strong now because there are a lot of one-cost AP rearguard units. There are a lot of AP carries. Attack speed increase items such as Ginso are also mana items that speed up skill rotation. How often you use your skill. Shiv and Red Buff are good because they are fixed damage plus attack speed increases. However, there are conditions for the strength of one stage pieces. So he mentions frontline pieces, blah blah blah. This for when you which one cost to go for. The overlapping pieces in the front line have some fire on them. This is a unanimous two-step win con. Okay, so yeah, you should really look for some fire. So what should you do in the first stage if you're loose streaking? The higher level of the table, the higher level of the lobby, the stronger the board state will be in the early game. There are times when you can create it, but that won't happen every game. So that you won't be able to win streak every game. There are also times when only family cards are lined up in the shop, so stop thinking that the game is luck or that you'll lose. Let's go back to the basic policy of the current environment in stage 2 or 1. So yeah, go for one cost, good one cost. If you're a bit weak, look for a reroll, and otherwise lose streak with items to play scrap, an item augment to play scrap. Yeah, 3 needs no explanation, so I'd skip it. It's the last resort. Regarding 2, when you do 1, you can imagine how terrible your 2-1 board state will be. So if you think your board will be very bad on 2-1, you can go towards 2 and try to look for a reroll. It's by doing 1 that you realize the importance of 2. You'll be able to predict losing all 3 stages. To prevent this from happening, prepare for a power spike at the third stage from the first. On the third stage from the first, 3-1. That's remember how money is lost in the first stage. Or how you get it. 6 gold from and 3 items. Or 2 gold per turn and 3 items, 12 gold, 2 items, 18 gold, 1 item, or Scuttle Puddle. For example, in 2 gold orbs every round, so 1-3 could hold many units. What that means is the probability of units overlapping is lower than usual. Have you ever had Renata or Camille fall from a 2 gold orb and sold them without thinking? Or bought Raven and a Mumu from the shop? Even if you have something like that, it is obvious that 2 stage will be poor board state. This one meant by 1 being more conscious of the 1 cost here than usual. If you're holding something like that, it's better to make reroll seriously. If you do this, it is surprisingly common for 2 costs to become a pair in the next orb or shop. Then you should be excited about the reroll composition. So if you're getting many bad units, and you're getting like some good 2 cost to reroll, you should definitely look towards reroll more because you have bad opener and you have some reroll unit. Enemies with Momo pairs or Draven pairs will scout and despair because they're contested. They can't go for it. It's game of luck. In the first place, there is basically only one player who can win and progress in the game. Therefore, the stronger the environment, the lobby, the more you can decide on a reroll and confirm the third stage power spike. However, there is something I don't want you to misunderstand. That is, I want to make the winning progression overwhelming. The weaker the table, the weaker the lobby, the less you understand the conditions for winning progression. You can win just by leveling up at 2-1 and slamming the strong items mentioned earlier. First, it's important to be able to win streak, and then as the lobbies get harder, you gradually learn to go for reroll in the correct conditions. So yeah, in lower levels, you can usually always go for win streak or almost always. And the higher you get towards like GM and Challenger, you need to reroll more and know the conditions. Last time I wrote summary, but it's actually an editor's note. That's all for today's article. It was pretty theoretical. I'm tired, so there will be no practical part. However, if you understand what's written in this part, I feel like you don't need the practical part. I think you wrote yesterday too. This game is steep, although I wrote that there was a first stage article. It was quite long because I wrote about how to spend the first stage while taking into account the central point of this game. If you have energy to write this again, I will think it will be a second stage article, stage 2, after environment has changed with a patch. I think I'll make it into a note, which you can read while reviewing. Okay, whatever. Look forward to seeing you in Challenger. Yeah, very, very long guide. I think it was really, really good though, so I made a short video about it. And if you enjoyed it, go support them with tips. It would be great. So yeah, in conclusion, basically try to win streak and use the different rules he had for which one costs to go for. And also think about this so you know which kind of drops can come and consider it for what to hold. And for the one cost, do the thing where you look if they're good front line, if they're synergy, if they're back line, if they're nothing of it. And then also remember the 3 different ways to play the patch, which are the win streak, lose streak, into reroll, or scrap with item augment. And also in general, I think one really good thing to remember is the different kinds of metas and how to play in them. So under 1 and 2, you should probably win streak with 4 costs and lose streak with the reroll. And in the only 4 cost, both win streak and lose streak is fine. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you next time.